Hi, I'm Danger Dan Jers, the host and GM of the D&D Real Play podcast, D&D Dark. Join us on Wednesdays for an absurd, over-the-top comedy horror adventure, starring some of history's most infamous monsters.
I'm Ben Magnet. I play Mary Frankenstein, our barbarian.
I am Daniel Cruz. I am playing Imhotep the Mummy, our cleric.
I'm Jordan, and I play Larry Talbot, a lycanthropic warlock.
I am Grayson, playing Jet Griffin, the Invisible Man, the party's rogue.
I am Aaron. I play the Phantom of the Opera, our bard.
For more information, go to dndarkpodcast.com and listen to us anywhere you find podcasts.
Yeah! All you people out there! Listen to Con Freaks and Geeks! They may be freaks and geeks, but they're great! Okay! Thank you, Lord Frieza!
Hey everybody, this is Davis over at the CFG, and I would like to welcome you to another episode of Pop Culture Gems. This is a series where we talk to amazing creators, artists, cosplayers, voice actors, and so much more. If you like our interviews, we do with our amazing guests, give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel, the CFG channel, or you can either go to our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com, if you want to see the full article, or go to any podcast services that are out there. Today, my guest is a wonderful VA that has been in several Funimation shows. He's been doing his craft for over 20 years, and it's only getting better and better and better. He has done several great series, like playing as the Private Eye Richard Moore from Detective Conan, the powerful Whitebeard in One Piece, leader of the Ginyu Force, Captain Ginyu in the Dragon Ball Z Super, and in the video games. Pixis in Attack on Titan, and is currently playing the grandfather Cairo Gojo in My Dress Up Darling. I would like to welcome R Bruce Elliott to the show. How are you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. Thank you. Thank you, Davis. Hi, everybody. I've been doing this. We're coming up on 20 years. Not quite.
Yeah, you're close.
My first day at Funimation was late in 2003, so I'm about a year and a half away from hitting 20 years at this now. Wow.
Well, I mean, that's still a crazy, an awesome feat to have, though. I mean, especially with voice acting, it's incredible.
I feel very lucky. I feel very lucky. Yeah. Yeah. Some of my friends have worked for Funimation longer than that, but most probably have not.
Well, you know what? It doesn't even matter. At that point, it's like if you hit over 10 years, then I'll be like, okay, I'm good. Now you got your full.
I'm kind of amazed that I'm still around after all this time. It's really wonderful.
Hey, they when they know talent, they'll stick with good talent, man. So that's cool. Well, welcome to the show. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
I'd love to geek out with you, so let's get this party started. So, I mean, coming from an extensive stage acting background, what caught your eye to get into the world of voice acting?
Well, as you say, I really was raised on the stage. I've been an actor really since the third grade, seriously since high school. And of course, that really meant doing stage. And I did college theater and community theater. And once I got into my, late 20s, right around late 20s, maybe about the time I hit 30, I turned professional. I joined Actors Equity Association, and I've now been a member of Actors Equity Association for several decades. Let's just say that. It's just acting. I've just always thought of myself as an actor, have been for a long time. And I had done a little bit of voice acting. I had done maybe a couple of radio spots, I can't even remember. It's been so long ago. It would have been in the maybe late 70s or 80s, early 80s. Did a little bit of voice stuff, but not a whole lot. I got interested in anime to a degree because I had watched some episodes of Cowboy Bebop back in the old days. when it was about the only game in town as far as anime on American television was concerned. And I enjoyed it. I thought that was really cool, and maybe at some point I thought, gee, that would be fun to do, but there didn't seem to be any way to pursue it. And then I met an actor named Damian Clark, and I don't know if you would know that name or not. Some people will know his name as a voice actor. He's been in Los Angeles for quite a while now, but he was based in Dallas and worked for Funimation. And we happened to work together on a short film over a couple of days back in the 90s. And he started, on a break, we started talking, and he was telling me about this show, Dragon Ball Z, that he had a part in, and how much fun it was, how much he enjoyed it. I said, yeah, Dragon Ball Z. Yeah, I think I've heard of that. And I said, well, that would be fun to do. I'd love to do something like that, but didn't really know how to approach it at that point. And they weren't doing any casting, and not that I was aware of. And my agent at the time did not send me on an audition to Funimation. But within a couple of years, I had a new agent. And within a couple of years of that, I got sent on my first audition to this place called Funimation. And I was, oh, yeah, Funimation. Oh, yeah, I think I remember that. So it's not like it was, it wasn't like my dream to be an anime voice actor. My dream has been to be an actor all my life. And my stated goal, and you can ask many of my friends, is simply to work. And I just wanted to work as an actor. So, delightfully and rather amazingly, being with Funimation has allowed that to continue. And I still did quite a bit of theater after I started working for Funimation. So like I said, like the end of 2003 was when we first started working on my first show, which was, you mentioned it, Detective Conan. Yeah. Or as it wound up being called, Case Closed. And I was Richard Moore in Case Closed. And that was an awful lot of fun. And it's actually in many ways that's probably the most I ever worked at Funimation. Kind of crammed all into one time, and because we did. I know you have some more questions about this coming up, I think, but we wound up doing about 120 episodes of that, and they wanted to get it done, so I worked 3-4 days a week, 5-6 hours a day for like a year and a half, something like that.
Was that like before, what's it called? Union? That had to have been prior Union, right? Or
no, there's no union with voice actors at Funimation. I'm a member of Actors Equity, the stage union, but SAG and AFTRA don't have any truck with Funimation or vice versa. So
that's pretty brutal for a voice actor to be doing.
There are no residuals, which is unfortunate. That would make a difference.
Wait.
Absolutely.
So you're telling me that there was no residuals for your voice acting for any of the roles that you've done, and then at the same time you were doing it, or was it just that during its time, like they weren't offering any of that?
That's still the case. That is still the case. The Funimation does not pay residuals. It's a non-union shop. I'm trying to think, what else can I say about that? That's just the way it is.
Yeah, I'm leaving it at that. I know it's good. Yeah.
I will say that a few years ago, they gave, as I understand it, they gave about 100 of us that did the most voice acting over the last 15 years or so. They gave us a substantial hourly raise. We get paid by the hour.
Oh, okay. So you're an employee of Funimation, though, not necessarily.
I'm actually not an employee of Fun. I have never been an employee of Funimation. I am an independent contractor.
Okay.
So I don't get vacation. I don't get sick pay. I don't get any of that stuff.
Well, that's cool.
But I'm an independent contractor for Funimation. That's the way they like it, and that's fine.
That's understandable.
I still enjoy it. Doesn't keep me from having a good time.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not. This is not ragging on Funimation anyway. I just want to let you know. I'm just wondering. It's pretty interesting. I just would never think that.
Yeah, there's been discussion of trying to unionize, but really nothing has come of it so far. Anyway, but who knows?
Yeah, no, no
None of us
problem.
dead yet, so.
But I really love the fact that you're saying that. I mean, so basically, like when you switched over to your new agent, like what, like he decided to push on voice acting more than what your previous one did, or did
Well,
did he
I'm
just
not sure. Yeah, I'm not sure
okay?
about that. That's possible, or it could be. I think maybe I just happened to hit at a time right when Funimation was starting to do a whole lot more shows, and they needed new talent. I'm not sure how many actors they had in their stable before then, but they needed more. And so I think at that point they started having, I think, more auditions than, I'm not sure what they had done in the way of auditions before. They must have had some.
Yeah.
Um,
Okay.
but my agent called me up one day and said, "How'd you like to go to this place called Funimation and audition for this show?" And I was like, "Sure, love to." Funimation? Yeah, cool. Aren't those the people who do Dragon Ball Z? Is this for Dragon Ball Z? Well, no. Well, oh, okay. That's all right. I don't mind. It's okay. What do they got? She said, "It's the show called Detective Conan." So I went out and I read for Richard Moore, and I did a terrible job. And I read for Professor Agasa, and I thought I did a better job actually reading for Professor Agasa. And he was kind of like more fun in a way, at least just from the, you get a sheet when you walk into audition, and it gives you a brief description of the character and then some lines. And I really couldn't quite understand what Richard was all about, because the description of him was that sometimes he can be smart, sometimes he can be stupid, sometimes he's drunk, sometimes he's sober, sometimes he's suave and debonair, sometimes he's a blithering idiot. And I was like, I don't know anything about voice acting. How do I do all that? I have no. Oh, here's the Professor Agasa. Oh, he would be like Ludwig von Drake. I can do that. I can do the crazy European scientist. Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I thought, great. I want to be a Professor Agasa. I'm so glad that didn't happen.
I agree too. I think
Justin Cook. I have to give my props to Justin Cook, who is still my boss at Funimation. He was in charge of the production end. And he's the one that called me back to read again and said, she said, I really want you to do this. I know you're a good actor. And I said, but I don't know how to do this voice. He says, just do you, be you, use your own voice. I was like, use my voice for a cartoon character? Oh my gosh, I don't know what to do.
that's so cool.
When you're mad, get mad, and when you're being silly, just let it be Bruce being silly, and that was really the key. And I will tell you something else. I know a question that you forwarded to me that you were interested in knowing about was that
yes,
Justin Cook told me, I don't know if it was the very first day, but the second day I came in, he said, at Funimation, we're really not looking for people who do voices, funny voices or cartoon voices or, just voices. We're looking for good actors. And that's who we want first, is people who are good actors. And so that's been the motivation for a lot of casting at Funimation, I would say. And that's kind of at the bedrock of when they're looking for new voice actors, they're looking for good actors first.
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have changed the game when it comes to voice acting, because when you compare what it was back in the day to what it is now, you're totally right. But I mean, wow, I mean, that's just amazing. I love that. That is a really cool origin story for where you're starting off from. But were you somewhat in the scene, like in the scene prior to your voice acting? You said your knowledge was fairly limited with Dragon Ball Z because of your friends and stuff. But prior to that, though, were you familiar with any other anime roles when you first started to voice over, or did you have what was your expectations when you hit the Funimation?
I had no idea what to expect. I honestly didn't. As I mentioned, I'd seen some Cowboy Bebop and enjoyed that. It wasn't a character in there where I thought, oh gee, I could do that. They were all pretty much younger people. But I started at Funimation after reaching a certain age. Let's just say that. So I wasn't right for most of the roles in anime go to younger people, teens and 20 somethings, middle-aged guys, So I was able to fake being a middle-aged guy as Richard Moore, and I seem to get away with that. So I don't have an old voice, but I can do an old voice, if it's called for. It kind of depends on what's going on. But I have a fairly versatile voice, and I will say that's one thing. That's actually one thing that I've learned that's been really eye-opening for myself at Funimation is that I've learned that my voice is a lot more versatile than I ever thought it was. I always prided myself on being versatile on stage, that I could play all kinds of different roles, and I've done comedy and tragedy and Shakespeare and live industrial shows for like commercial corporations and stuff like that. I sing, I dance a little tiny bit. But I was able to, directors would say, yeah, come in, after I'd been doing Case Closed for a while, and have a director say, I'm doing this show. Why don't you come in and read for this part, read for this character? It's like, oh, okay. So I would try different things, and a director would go, hey, yeah, that's it. I'd go, yes, all right. So you're cast. So you are now Kanbei in Samurai 7, which was thrilling, by the way. That was second or third show that I worked on at Funimation. I don't know if you've ever seen any.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that was the Kurosawa. Yeah, the Kurosawa thing version, but it was like a futuristic kind of thing. It
was a little, a kind of a sci-fi.
Yeah,
Seven Samurai, the original Japanese movie. I still think, in my opinion, is the greatest movie ever made.
I would totally agree. Like, I mean, like, you remember I think like a good, like, I mean, what was the name of the movie? Magnificent Seven got it from so you can't touch Seven Samurai, even though that movie's like 4 hours long. Yeah. You could sit down and watch all of it.
And it goes like that. It's such an incredible movie. And what was cool about doing Samurai 7 is that it was an authorized anime version by Kurosawa's estate. He had passed on by then, of course. Mm-hmm. But it was authorized by his estate. So they used all the characters' names, and the essence of the story is all the same.
Yeah.
They just make the bandits flying around in flying machines rather than on horseback.
Right.
So
exactly.
That's definitely a sci-fi element. So, and they had to make it longer because I think it's the series is like 24 episodes.
Yeah, it's 20 something episodes long.
So it's like 3 times as long as the original movie. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember like how they made like you remember out of the 7 samurais, 6 of them were real samurai, but the other one was not. Like he was like he was a fake samurai. That they made it in the anime. They made it like he was the mecha guy, the big bulky dude that likes to showboat with that was like robotic most of it. I forgot his name, but like that's for some reason that's the one guy I remember that show.
What the name is either? Yeah, it's been too long.
Yeah, but it's so crazy. But like, so how did you get?
Beautifully done show. I mean,
it was
the artwork
for its time,
incredible. Just a remarkable show.
Yeah, for its time, even like the animation style was definitely unprecedented during its time. So yeah, you're totally right. What about but how did you get into like the role of Captain Ginyu so late though? Like when did you start doing it in Super, or what was there a story on that?
I think I think Dragon Ball Kai came first. Dragon Ball Z Kai was first, and then Dragon Ball Z Super. Yes, a guy named Bryce Armstrong was the original Captain Ginyu, and he retired. He's even older than I am. In fact, he's now passed on. He passed on a few years ago, but he retired from voice acting, and they needed to replace him. Mm-hmm. So again, that was something that I auditioned for. Went in and read for it, and I think it's been so long I can't really remember terribly well. I think they played me some of what he had done, and I think they wanted me not to match it, but to try to match the flavor, the tone, the idea of it. And I just basically my recollection and what I've always told people is that I yelled the whole audition, and they went, "That's perfect. There you go. There's Captain Ginyu. That's perfect." So yeah, do that. Oh, Ginyu talks like this all the time. Yes, Lord Frieza. Yes, Lord Frieza. Absolutely. Yes, I'll lick your shoes, Lord Frieza. Absolutely. Bend over, I'll lick that too. It's oh my god. Captain Ginyu and the wonderful idiots of the Ginyu Force. I love them all.
Everyone's being loved.
Dearly.
It sounds like it'd be like he was made by like if Sam Kinison decided to do voice acting.
Good, yeah. Oh, Kinison would have been fabulous as Ginyu.
That's so great. I just love it because he's always 100% dynamic, so it's really great.
I did all the episodes of Dragon Ball Z Kai and then Dragon Ball Z Super as Ginyu, and since then it's been the DBZ video games as Ginyu. So I haven't recorded on the series in many years, but I think it's only maybe it's been a couple of years since the last time we did a DBZ video game
because I think the most recent one was the Fighters and the Dragon Ball Z RPG. Yeah, something like that.
Like 10 or 12 video games.
That is crazy.
Yeah, it's cool. I love it. Keeps the character going. Gives me more work. Bring it on.
That's awesome. And like when I hear your voice naturally, like I automatically hear like Detective Richard Moore, like from Detective Conan. I always like just by default. It's like, and I know you still do the roles from time to time in the movies when the movies come out. But do you I kind of want to know specifically because like I loved like Detective Conan was interesting to me. I loved the beginning of it. This series is hitting over more episodes than One Piece right now. And we're
still going, right? In Japan,
it's still going. Yeah, it's still going. But then here in America, we had 100. We stopped at, like you were saying, we stopped at 120, 130.
Yeah.
Yeah, like what the heck happened? Like, why did it just like it just felt like it was incredibly early when they stopped when it finally got its before it was getting its stride into it. Like, do you have an idea like why it abruptly stopped and incredibly early?
I'll tell you what I know about that. First of all, I should mention I haven't done a Detective Conan movie or a Case Closed movie in quite a few years. After we stopped recording the series, we started doing the movies. And I think we did 6 or maybe 8 Detective Conan movies, and I have not done any more movies, and that's been I'm sure that's been 10 years. I'm sure that has to have been close to 10 years ago the last time we did a Case Closed movie. So we're not still doing that. So I actually haven't had a chance to do Richard for a while, although I love to have him come back. My understanding, what I was told, and what I kind of gathered, was that Case Closed, as wonderful a show as it is, and it really is a good show. I think it was well written and well conceived. It never quite found enough of an audience in this country. And what was suggested to me was that with Conan being a little kid and hanging around with the little kids in his school, right? Because Conan goes to school, they send him to school. That it was a little too juvenile for some older fans, and that it was so violent and bloody, at least occasionally, which it was occasionally, that it was a little too violent and bloody for little kids. So there was kind of people up here, not so much. People down here, not so much. And there was kind of a middle layer. What I was told was that when it was running on TV, it ran on Adult Swim for about a year, going back. What's this? 10, 12? Oh my gosh, how long has that been now? Wow,
probably like 05, 06 or something. I'm assuming.
15 years, something like 16 years. Was that college kids loved it, and that college kids couldn't get enough of it. That they would gather in the dorms, in the TV room and watch Case Closed and try to solve the mysteries.
Yes,
but it never quite found the market. I heard later now, this is just between us and your fans, that there was discussion of bringing it back, but that the Japanese studio really wanted more for the rights than Funimation felt that they could afford.
Oh, okay.
But they didn't.
That makes sense.
Again, they still didn't feel like there was enough of a market to pay what the Japanese studio was asking. And I understand now that there's studio in a company in L.A. that's dubbing Detective Conan stuff again. I have not
Oh,
seen
they
or
are.
heard of it. That's what
I
I'm
did
told.
not know. Wow.
Check that out, because I haven't seen any of it myself, but I'm told that they're doing Case Closed again. It's just not a Funimation project anymore.
If it's for kids' entertainment, then you might as well just say no, thank you. But still, I'm just
I
saying.
don't know who that is. I may be wrong about that, but I don't think so. I think I did hear that.
Oh no, I mean if it is, that's great, but it would suck because that means that they would have to recast all the different kinds of roles. Like,
Oh
because
yeah,
like I said,
yeah.
I mean,
Everybody.
like all the because all that we that the U.S. has gotten from Case Closed was y'all's adaptation of it, and now it's like you're deciding to switch over to a brand new. I guess it's now long. I guess it's long enough. It's old enough now that you could start from scratch with
It's
a new
been
set of
long enough.
people.
Yeah, I suspect.
Yeah,
So.
but man, it's like I was just like, wow, this just because I originally didn't like the show for a bit, but then like once it got a little bit deeper in, and it was like, oh, okay, this, yeah, it does grow on you. It's like oh, okay, I can see it, and it's cool because it's like a series that you don't have to. You could just watch the one episode and don't have to watch it coincidentally. Right. Because it's like it reminds me of a 30-minute anime version of Murder She Wrote. If you know what
it kind of is. Yeah, it kind of is.
Yeah. I loved it though, but I was just so sad to see it go though. When I finally found out, oh nope, that's all the dubs. It's like, oh,
me
man.
too. Oh my gosh, if Funimation was still doing it, oh, I'd probably be in my Swiss chalet, instead of here in the house in suburban Dallas.
Your Richard Moore money there. There you go. Chateau de Moore.
If we were still doing Case Closed, oh my God, that'd be fabulous.
Well, that's great.
I do miss it.
Oh yeah, that's good. And I mean, and like I said, you're cap like we were saying earlier. Like you're Captain Ginyu. Well, the most recent Captain Ginyu. We'll say you're the Captain Ginyu now or right now.
Yeah, I'm the current Captain Ginyu if there is one. Yeah.
Right. So that just naturally means like constant yelling, shouting, powering up, like a lot of different kinds of like very fully action moves, action packed. You're always energetic and stuff. So like, especially in the game series, especially in games, and I know the whole nightmare it goes in the gaming thing of like, oh, I need you to shout like this. I need you to shout like this. And like shout as if you get punched in the gut. Like, so like what? Yeah. So like, what do you do to? Oh, I can't even imagine though, man. But like, what do you do to keep your voice intact for like all those crazy sessions of shouting and yelling?
Well, first of all, the directors know that they have to be considerate of their voice actors, and they have to take care of the actors' voices, and we have to take care of our own voices, of course. But we take breaks, when we're recording. I think, like I said, so the last time I went in to do Ginyu would have been for a video game, and we probably spent maybe a couple of hours, I think, at the most. And they'd have a script for me on the screen, and it's like you say, sometimes so the first 3 cues are get hit hard, get hit harder, and then get hit really hard and fall down, right? So so I'm standing up there and I go, ugh! And then I go, ugh! And then, or something stupid like that. Not really. They don't usually say fall down, but so I was wondering how to address this question. My voice is, as I say, it's fairly flexible. It also seems to be fairly resilient. I've done enough that I guess I sort of naturally kind of take care of my voice. So I can yell, but I don't yell my voice out. I don't push it so hard, and the director doesn't want you to push it so hard that you hurt your voice, and you can, but that hasn't happened to me. I'm fairly cautious about that, but I'll give it all I've got, and then if we need to take a break. And a few years ago, back when I was smoking, we'd take a break so I could take care of my voice, and I'd go outside and have a cigarette. That was how I don't do that anymore. I don't smoke cigarettes anymore. And that's how I would take a break and take care of my voice is go out and have a cigarette. No, but I drink water a lot. When you need a break, you tell the director, I said, I need to sit down for a few minutes, or I need to go outside and just sort of sit in the sun for a few minutes, and that's fine. They build in breaks. So when they're recording, so it's between me and the director. We're going to take care of my voice pretty well.
So your own natural limits of your own voice. So like when would that be safe to say? Okay, cool.
I'd say pretty much, yeah.
Okay, because like because like it's funny because ever since I started talking to a lot of different voice actors, then I didn't even think about it. It was like, oh wow, those the video game sessions must be insane because you're doing like reactive sound effects and you're doing it for a long period of time, and I'm just like, how do people just decide to just say, let's do this for 4 hours and y'all just perfectly fine and still find it
well, like I said, my sessions I don't think I ever did a 4-hour Ginyu session. That would have been a lot. We might have done 2.5 or 3, but I think they have tended mostly to be in the 1 hour to 2 hour range. Because when you go in for a video game, for one thing, it's different than anime because you're not matching animation that's already been created. You're doing the voice, and then they're gonna create the game and the animation from what you do vocally. So, the toughest stuff tends to be the reactions, the getting hit or the hitting. Doing the lines, even yelling the lines, is not quite as physically stressful or exhausting. But you get into a whole bunch of what we call reactions, and there might be just a page of nothing but making sounds. Like I say, being hit or hitting, being run through with a sword, or getting hit in the stomach, or getting hit in the face, or getting knocked down. So if you do those for a while, it can wear you out. Let me tell you, in fact, I've been asked about this before, and the most exhausting voice session I ever had was not at Funimation. Well, Funimation doesn't do video games; those are done elsewhere generally. But I did a couple of characters in a Walking Dead video game, and I played I think a sheriff and one or two other guys, and had to get who gets bitten, he's gonna turn into a zombie now, and he's doing all of this very exhausting and coughing, and I was I would be coughing and talking to somebody on the phone, trying to get him to do something or other. I don't remember. It's been years. And it was just like, it was exhausting, and it was physically demanding. And of course, I'm sitting right now. When I record, I'm always standing up, because you get the flow of the energy so much better when you're standing in front of a mic. So,
right.
So when I'm hitting, my whole body's going at it. And, pretty much any voice actor is going to tell you the same thing. They're going to throw themselves into it physically, and boy, by the end of about halfway through that Walking Dead session, I wish what's the subtitle? The Walking Dead.
It could have been like this. Oh, is it the Telltale ones? The storytelling ones?
I can't remember. I can't remember what the subtitle is on it. I'm also very old. I'm very old. That's my excuse. But man, I was by the end of like the first half of the session, I was just about ready to throw up, because I had screamed my voice. I really did scream my voice out on that one. And I had to scream when I was being attacked by the zombies, and so do a lot of this really, really physical, not just vocal stuff, but physically vocal stuff. And that was, I'll never forget that. I was exhausted by the end of that. Didn't stop me from going outside and having a cigarette on the break. So yeah,
not that exhausting. Just but,
I never claimed to be that smart, So, anyway.
Oh, that's cool though. I mean, that's interesting. I definitely man. Well, when you're adding coughing and stuff, I can only imagine. That was nasty. That was just not fun.
Not fun. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Like, what do you do? Like, well, I mean, when it's all said and done, though, what do you do to unwind from your your daily job, the job of voice acting?
Well, these days I'm not voice acting as much as I would like, honestly. Right now I'm averaging going into Funimation currently about once a week for sometimes just half an hour, sometimes for an hour, occasionally for 2 hours. A few weeks ago, I had a 4-hour session, and that's the longest voice acting session I've had in quite a few years.
Wow.
So I'm not in it as much. It doesn't exhaust me like it could in the old days.
Mm.
When we were doing Case Closed, and I was, like I said, we were doing 5-6 hour days, and that's a long day in the booth. I mean, with breaks and all that stuff. But 3 or 4 days a week doing 5 or 6 hours a day. And boy, at the end of the day, I would go out to my car in the parking lot, and I would just sort of sit there and just kind of, just kind of let it all go and smoke a couple of cigarettes before I started the car and headed back to Dallas. It was because at that point, Funimation was not quite an hour away from my house, so it was a good long drive over there and a good long drive back. But these days, it's I don't have to do that much, so it's not like there's a lot to unwind from. Honestly, I was telling my honey here that when I saw you were interested in asking me that question, I saw it. I said I could say, well, to unwind from voice acting, I open the closet door and step out. Because when I'm recording at home these days, which I do some, I'm not doing it for Funimation anymore. Although, so a few months after the pandemic started, they finally started recording some of us from home. So I do have a setup, but you can't see it here, but I have a mic stand next to me with a microphone and an iPad holder and headphones, and I take it across the hall into my darling's walk-in closet, stuffed full of her clothes, and it turns out to be a pretty good recording booth.
That is perfect.
Almost no echo, so it's a really good recording space. So when I do recordings for other things now and for auditions, which I do sometimes, I will go into the walk-in closet and I'll do the recording. And so when I'm finished, I'll come out of the closet and go, "Phew, honey, what's for dinner?" And fix me a margarita. So,
oh man,
there's not a lot of unwinding that has to happen these days.
I guess you're right. When I think about it, you're right, especially now since it's like, well, I mean, it's mostly working from home per se, but even though with those aspects, yeah, but yeah, you're totally right. I see.
Now we're back. We are back in the studio at Funimation now. And Funimation has a new place. Do you know about that?
I heard. Yeah, I heard they moved to Coppell. Yeah, and I'm wanting to.
Coppell got a really nice new setup. It's just so nice. I've been saying to people, Funimation is finally in a space
building
that it deserves. In the space that it deserves. Because when I first started working for them, they had like the third floor of a bank building in North Richland Hills, which is a suburb of Fort Worth. And it was kind of crammed in there, in a fairly tight space. And then a few years after that was when we moved to the space in Flower Mound, where it's been for about the last close to 15 years, 14, 15 years, something like that. So it's
I was surprised.
Just recently, they finally moved into this new space, and it's really, really nice. So I've been recording there.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I was surprised on like how they stayed in the Flower Mound side for as long as they did. Because like I took a tour there once, and then I was like, and I was like, wait, so like they showed me the sections, they showed all the tapes that were like the tapes and the tape sites and all that stuff.
Right.
It was basically a warehouse, and I was like, and I was like, wow. Yeah. I mean, it was huge, but still, I am wanting to go check. I really would like the chance to take a look at the Coppell location now. So
I trust you. You should get a chance at some point anyway.
Yeah.
When things smooth out a little bit with COVID, I trust. Yeah.
It looks like a nice building, though. Do they own the whole building?
It's very nice. It's very nice building. Yeah, and they're up on the 4th floor, and they've got the break and I guess you call it a break room, is huge, and it takes up most of one side of their whole floor, and it has windows, floor to ceiling windows that look out on this very nice, kind of space outside, and there's a canal out there. It's really,
nice.
really nice, and the studios are lovely. Yeah, it's finally the space that Funimation has deserved for a long time. So
I'm looking forward to checking that out.
Sony, I presume Sony had something to do with this.
I'm sure they definitely did.
they've owned Funimation for several years now.
Oh yeah, most definitely. And what do you prefer overall though? Do you like playing, like doing roles in gaming projects or anime, or does it matter to you, or was there one that you like more than the other?
I like them both. I really do like them both. I like voice acting because, frankly, when I go in, I never know exactly what I'm going to be doing. It's almost never do I get to see a script for anything ahead of time. That's just almost unheard of. So you're always going in fresh. When I'm going in to do a Dragon Ball Z video game, for instance, I'm going to know that it's Captain Ginyu, but I'm not going to know what he's going to say or what the situation is or what kind of lines or reactions I'm going to be presented with. So I like that fact that it keeps me on my toes. I got to stay fresh. I got to stay alert and stay in the moment. And I like them both. I really do. I like the fact that if I get a good role in a series, that I know I'm probably going to have more work next week or in a couple of weeks. With the video games, not quite so regular. Although, hey, how would you like to announce something? How would you like me to announce something? Because I have not done this officially. It may have been announced, but do you know the video game Tales of Luminaria?
Yeah, the phone game, right?
Yeah. Well,
yes.
Is it on phone?
No, don't take my word for it. I've heard of it, but I know of it. We got promos, but I thought it was a phone game.
So there was like a first kind of season of the game, I guess, and now they're doing a kind of a second go round on the season. And I play, and I have not announced this yet, but I was given permission just the other day to announce it. That I play Patrick, who is the headmaster of the Edis Knight Academy. And when you play Tales of Luminaria, you play as one of, I think, 14 characters or 19 characters or something like that. Yes. And whichever one you play, everybody has to go through the Edis, as spelled Aedis, the Edis Knight, Knighd Academy. And everybody has to go through the academy. And I'm the headmaster of that academy. Ooh, so nice. I don't necessarily have a whole lot to do, but every time a new player comes in, they've got to deal with me at least for a minute. So right now, I am going in about once a month to do the same video game, and that's unprecedented.
That's awesome. Congrats.
Never worked that steadily on a video game before. Like I said, the Dragon Ball Z series of video games, but those have been stretched out over a number of years, and they weren't regularly spaced or anything like that. But Tales of Luminaria, I'm working about once a month now. Yeah, just went in for my second session the other day. Yeah, it's a lot of fun.
I'm definitely looking forward to checking that out. That's really cool. Like now, are you like the guy that does like the tutorial of the new player, or are you just the?
I guess to some degree. I'm not sure what else is coming. And what did I do in the last one that we did? Besides being old, it's like,
but then again,
it wasn't a lot, and kind of like once you do it, it kind of goes out of your head. I'm just pleased I remember the character's name. He's Patrick, is the headmaster. I don't know. He welcomes the player, I think, and so this is what you have to do, and I don't know.
No, that's awesome. That's awesome, though. I mean, like,
I'll have to see the game and see what it looks like. I really have no idea.
I definitely got to check it out. That's pretty funny. If it was up to you, though, is there anything throughout your career? I mean, like, is there a role that you would like? What would you cast yourself in? Like, be it anime, animation, live action. Is there something that you're wanting to do still that you would want to play?
Well, I'm a little too long in the tooth and a little too gray in the hair to do the role that I always wanted to do since I was a kid is a stage role. And that's Harold Hill in The Music Man. I always wanted to play The Music Man. It is still one of my favorite musicals. I saw the Broadway national tour of Music Man, first Broadway show I ever saw, and it was in Dallas at the State Fair Music Hall way back when. Forrest Tucker played Harold Hill, and ever since that, I was just dazzled, and I always wanted to play Harold Hill. I only got to audition for it once at a community theater, and I was equity, and they couldn't afford to hire me. I don't know whether they would have, but they probably wouldn't have been able to do it just because they would have had to pay me. But that's been my dream role all my life. In earlier days, I would have wanted to do Hamlet. I suppose I would have wanted to do Hamlet. I've gotten to play some really good roles. The ones I think of tend to be stage roles. As far as anime stuff goes, I've kidded Michael Tatum that he really should have let me play Sebastian in Black Butler, because I think my English accent is just as good as his, and I see he works too much. He works way too much. I said, you could have given me that one. I would really have liked it. Of course, I got to be in Black Butler, so I can't complain that much. So I was a little Tanaka, Black Butler. So I was a little Tanaka who basically just goes, whoo, 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 a lot, and that's all he does. Yeah, I probably don't watch enough other anime. I tend to watch the stuff that I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I watched more stuff, I would go, oh yeah, I could have done that, or I would love to have done that. I probably just don't watch enough anime. I can't keep up with the stuff that I'm in.
It's impossible. It's impossible for anyone to watch all of what's out there in just this
literally
season's time.
Impossible. Yeah,
it's literally impossible. But man, it's funny. Like when I watched Music Man, because I was introducing Music Man with the movie, not the old movie, the 1962 movie, and I'm like, man, because like I love choreography, and then the thing that got me hooked was when Morse was doing Shibupi, and the two-step dance that they were doing, like when they were tandemly doing it, and I was like, what is this magical thing that's happening? I'm like 4 years old at this time.
What a marvelous film! Yeah,
I loved it. Yeah, the movie was great. Although the guy was like, didn't like the guy for a long time until like then when he tricked the town with Trouble, the song with Trouble was really good too.
Robert Preston, one of my heroes.
Yes, Robert Preston did a great job.
Nobody like him. Nobody like Robert Preston. Yeah.
God, I could talk music all day, but it was what is okay? Last question. What is, if you remember, like, I asked this for all voice actors that come on the show. What is one of the craziest or weirdest lines that you had to say? And it could be out of context. It could be something that you like, something that you may you remember. Like, is there anything that you have to say? Like, well, that's weird. Why? What the hell does that mean?
And the one that popped into my head, this is last night, I was thinking about this. The one that popped into my head, again, sorry, it's not an anime line. It's a stage line again. And the line is, you, brag, bull, bull.
you, brag, bull, bull.
That requires some explanation. You, brag, bull, bull. Ring a bell at all? Probably not.
No, it does not.
It's from Streetcar Named Desire, Tennessee Williams.
Oh, okay.
It's a line that the character Mitch speaks, and Mitch is like Stanley's best friend in Streetcar Named Desire. Mm-hmm. And by the way, I played Stanley when I was 21 in community theater before I had any idea what I was doing. Oh my God, I shudder to think how awful I must have been in that. But later on, when I started working professionally, I played Mitch at a theater in Dallas. And
nice.
and it's the guy sitting at the poker table, and Stanley's drunk and he's being really belligerent and abusive to Blanche and Stella, and Mitch gets really upset, and he goes, "You brag, bull." And that's the line. That's the whole line. You, brag, bull. You know, it's sort of, when you say it all together real quickly, it just sounds so ridiculous. So, and that's what popped into my head last night. I don't ask me why. That's just what popped into my head.
No, it's all good.
I bet there's other great stuff, but I can't think of any. So
no, that is perfect. That is perfectly fine.
You, brag, bull. Remember that, kids.
When you put that in context, though, it does. It's a lot.
It works. Yeah, it works in the moment, in the context of the play. It works. But if you just say it out of context, it's like, what the hell was that?
Yeah, this sounds like a Konami code or something you have to do inside of a game code or something. But that's pretty cool. No, I like it.
Tennessee Williams is kind of a poet. That's not a very poetic line.
The memorable Academy Award-winning phrase. That's what
you brag, bull. That's right.
There you go. Hey, R Bruce Elliott, thank you so much for being a part of the show. This was a real big treat.
Thank you.
As always, if there's anything, if you want to plug anything, you definitely can at this point. Like, is there any conventions, Twitter, whatever people can follow you on or check you out?
I am on Twitter. I'm R Bruce Elliott 1 on Twitter. I'm also R Bruce Elliott on Facebook. Those are the only two social media that I have anything to do with. I was late to Twitter. I didn't start Twitter until a couple of years ago.
I still don't have a Twitter account. I personally don't have a Twitter account.
I don't do Spotify or what else is there? I mean, there's all sorts of stuff. But anyway, I don't do that. I don't do other things. Cons, I'm doing. I should get the date on that. I am doing a convention in Athens, Texas.
Mm-hmm. Nice.
Let's see. Let me pull up the Anime Athens, Athens, Texas. That will be Saturday, April 30th and Sunday, May 1st. And then in July, all things being equal, if it all works out and I can travel by plane, which I'm a little hesitant to do right now, although we're getting to the point where it's at least conceivable to imagine. The middle weekend of July, Thursday the 14th through Sunday the 17th, I will be at Kineticon, spelled Connecticon in Hartford, Connecticut. Get it? Clever, huh? Connecticon. Anyway, it's supposed to be a great con. I was invited last year and had accepted, and it just, it got to the point where it was just too dangerous to fly. I'm vaccinated. I'm boosted. My honey is too, but we're still being a little cautious right now. So, but I'm hopeful that things are going to be good by July, and we'll be able to fly up there. So that's all I got in the way of cons. I hope for some more. Absolutely.
Well, definitely. So, yeah. I will say though, I will give the seal of approval with Kineticon. It is a great convention.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, we've covered it a couple of times in the past, and we've had done much fun over there. So yeah. So that's cool. Well, like I said, R Bruce Elliott, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for geeking out with me this week. This deal.
My pleasure.
Folks, if you love the interview that I did today with an awesome voice actor, you can always check us out on our YouTube page, the CFG channel, or go to our main website, confreaksandgeeks.com, or just go to the podcast services out there. We're on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, whatever. We're all out there. So just go check us out there.
I'm doing it right now. I'm going right now. Absolutely.
Y'all take it easy.